Good evening. Welcome to Dirt Floor Garage, where the floor is dirt. I'm rebuilding the doors of this S10. These are aggravating. You gotta buy this tool. Or maybe you don't. Maybe there's someone who knows how to do it without the tool. I don't know. I'm a Ford guy. I don't think Ford does this. Unless they do it on their newer stuff. But I don't work on their newer stuff. So it's fine. But yeah, this goes between the door and the door panel, just like this. And once you get it lined up, you push and it'll pop out a pin. There's a pin right down, and I don't know if you can see that. Right. With this tool, try to get you an angle in here. Gosh dang it, this is hard. So you see the pin? You see that? It lines up on it. Once you have it engaged, you just push. Bing. Yeah. That's simple. Now, oh, come on. Oh, I hurt my back today at work. First thing in the morning, threw out my back. So, when you get done with this, just take this pin, or a C-clip, whatever you call it, I don't know. And you just press it back on. And when you're ready to put it back on, you just stick it on there. Nope. Get it all lined up. Boom. But yeah, that's unimportant. Once you get that, it just pretty much pops off. Mine was already broken, these tabs. I'm gonna have to get new ones. I might get whole new doors in the end, because my door panels, I mean, they're fixable. I mean, I'm not above fixing that. Making that work. Did the same thing on the other door, but I got rid of the glass. Glass is out. I need a new roller on the end of that. If you can replace that, I don't know. If not, I guess I'll just buy the whole thing. And this little clip down in here, let me get in here. This one right here, it flips up. Hold on. This clip right here, how it works is this flips out, and then that pin can come out. But when I got this truck, you couldn't open the door because that pin had fallen out. But now with the pin back in, it works. But this door, if I keep it, it's gonna need a total rebuild. All new window tracks all the way through. All new weather stripping, because it's, if I can show you, it just breaks into pieces. There's like nothing left to it. I can rebuild this both sides for about 120 bucks off eBay, so it's not too bad. I could do that. I got a lead on some potentially new doors. Well, new used doors. If they're in better shape, I'll go with them. But they're in Citra, and I'm kind of short on cash right now. Got to do some work, got to saw some boards, stack some lumber, and make some more money, and I'll be able to dump some more money into this. But on other updates of the truck, the carpet is out, and if you've noticed, the little dingle-dangle thingy, also known as a shifter, it's gone, because it's right there. We have officially de-V6'd this. It is no longer a V6. Now that I have this out, what I need to do, I'm going to keep those mounts, because every time you buy the mount kit, it sends you 2.8 mounts. Well, I already got two. Well, that one's kind of short. That one's still good. What's your level of sketch? What is that acceptable? I mean, if I shoot some self-tappers through that, like, that's great. Pole Barn Garage, he just puts liquid nail in here. I might step it up and put like some polyurethane in here for like windows. And then I got the steering shaft. I'm going to replace all of this, do away with the rag joints and go straight to universal joints for the clearance. And then for my steering, my idler arm, it's shot. That's shot, that's shot, that's shot. That one's shot. This joint shot. This arm is good. I mean, that's great. The bushings are in here, shot on both sides. We've got 3 shims over here, 2 shims in the back, and pretty much the same thing over here, so it's not all jacked up and goofy. Yeah, but the plans are I'm going to ditch this. This is going. The only thing that's going to be left in this engine bay when I'm done is this and the windshield wipers. That's it. And I'm still debating on the exhausts. I don't know if I want to buy headers now, because the only ones I can afford are the ones from eBay, and I don't know if they'll fit. They say they'll fit, but I don't want to spend $170 on something that's not going to work. I know cast iron manifolds will fit. I know if I come in here, move this brake line, move that proportioning valve, trim up this edge right here, make some room down in this area here, you know, cut it, notch it. I have a cutting torch, you know, so cutting metal's not a problem. I can cut metal, but from the manifolds, I want to go down to either an H pipe or an X pipe, go to some mufflers. I want purple hornies, and then dump as just a temporary cheap exhaust. Now one day in the future, yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will get headers, and it would be nice to have headers and an X pipe and some better mufflers than purple hornies, but you know, or Flowmasters. Flowmasters, you can get them from Advanced Hardware for like 40 bucks a piece, so I already have one, so it'd be easy. I've also thought about just doing a Y pipe, 2.5 into 3-inch, and then out the back to a dump through a muffler. I've thought about that. Might get that. It would work. I'm not trying to build super badass race car. I'm just trying to build somewhat of a nice, fast daily driver that I could tow my motorcycle, both of them, or a little camper. But I got new tires. They're mounted. They're balanced. These ones in the back are really wide. If you can see, it's my whole hand. I still have room between the frame. It's about 2.5 inches back here. And then with the leaf spring, about the same, yeah. But those are nice, and then the fronts, they're just die-hard silvers. Still got a lot of decent tread on them. Bought these 40 bucks a piece at a tire warehouse. They deal in used tires. It was $14 a tire to mount and balance. So I'm into this. Well, I haven't really been paying out of pocket a lot for this. My grandfather and my uncle have been helping me a great deal, which is nice. And I've worked for it. I don't have the cash on me, but I have plenty of labor. So I built him a flatbed, didn't charge him for that, did all the work. I've rebuilt the diesel engine in our John Deere tractor, you know, didn't really charge him labor for that. So they forked out the $900 for this, another $200 on tires, and a 4-barrel intake manifold for 130 bucks off Amazon. I'm going to buy a new manifold, or not new. I'm going to go to the junkyard and see if a buddy of mine can pull off some manifolds. It's always nice to have a friend who owns a junkyard. But I'll put some manifolds on it. I need to buy a new water pump. I broke the drive shaft for the water pump on the LT1s. It's got a cam or gear that spins off the timing chain that directs to the water pump to spin the water pump. Well, I broke it. So I need to find a new one. And I found one on eBay. It's used, but it's $125. but it's really my only option. I've yet to find another one. I guess I need to search around. I might be able to find more at a better price. Um, but if I do that, then I can run the stock water pump. New water pump's like 80 bucks. I thought about buying an electric one and just reusing my old housing. But an electric water pumps, the cheapest one I've seen was on eBay, was like $216. I'm not going to spend $216 on a Chinese water pump that may or may not leave me stranded on the side of the road. Because the last thing I want is to have an electric water pump fail me. Because the end goal for this truck is to have a nice cruiser. I want to be able to cruise, do highway speeds. I'm not going to, it ain't a Prius, but I don't want to be a major gas hog. If I could get 14, 15 miles per gallon, I'll be happy with that. I'll take that. I want, 373 rear gears. I don't know what this 10 bolt has in it at the time. I think it's a 10 bolt. I don't know. It's Chevrolet garbage as far as I'm concerned. That's the one thing Chevrolet could never do, was build a rear end. When this fails, it's going to get a Ford 8.8 with 31 spline axles and disc brakes out of a Ford Explorer. I go to the junkyard, pull it, throw a limited slip diff, throw a locker in it, and be done. Disc brakes already done. Ditch these old drum brakes. Not that drum brakes don't work. I ain't bashing drum brakes. I love drum brakes. Drum brakes done right work just fine. Vehicles are driving up and down the road right now with drum brakes, and we don't hear about crashes happening. So, but for simplicity's sake, I would rather have the disc because I'm lazy and it's simple and it's easy. Drums ain't complicated. They look complicated, I'll give you that. But really, it's just springs. You put your springs back in the right order, and it should go good. Never tear apart two sides at once. Tear apart one side, leave your other side intact as a template. That's just the way you do it. Have I ever rebuilt drum brakes? No, never touched them. Half the time, I don't even pull the drums off, because I know majority of the braking's done with the front axle, with the disc brakes. But yeah, that's off topic. I'm going to keep this, I think it's a 7.5 inch rear axle, ring gear. I don't know, it's 7.5 GM axle. That I do know, I think. If everything I've read online is true, then that's what this is. If that's the case, it's not overly strong. It'll work for driving up and down the road. If I can find a good set of gears for it, I might, because, I'm going to throw some seals in the axle. I'm definitely going to go through it and clean it up, because if it is a good axle, just because it's not a strong axle doesn't mean it can't work. I'm not hardcore drag racing with this, so honestly, that with some new seals, new bearings, and fresh fluid probably could outlast me. But at the end of the day, I don't foresee it, nor do I really want it. I have something against a Chevrolet axle. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm a Ford guy, and that's just the one thing I can't stand from Chevrolet. I don't know. I've heard people praise a 10 bolt. Me, you couldn't pay me to take one. My buddy ran a 10 bolt in his dirt track car for years, never had an issue. His cousin had a Nova that was running on, would do 3,500 RPM launches on nitrous and shit. So, with a 10 bolt with a posi and a C-clip eliminator, it did great. So, can they hold? Sure. Do I think this axle is just going to fall out from underneath it the minute I press the gas? No. But the reason I want to change it is less about strength and more about aftermarket support. I could buy everything to rebuild this axle. I could buy 410 gears. I could buy C-clip eliminators. I could buy everything to make this an awesome rear end. And then I could also just buy a Ford 8.8 out of a Ford Explorer that is already out of the box stronger than this. And I don't even have to build it. I just have to bolt it in. Weld up the axle tubes. If it doesn't already have a locker, put a locker in it and let her eat. Put some new seals in it, send it down the road. This right here, a locker is expensive. New gears are expensive. Hardened axles are expensive. Can you even get a 31 spline axle for this? The axle tubes are only like 3-inch tubes or whatever, or 2-inch tubes. I don't know. 4 to 8.8 like 4-inch tubes. I mean, they're beefy, they're girthy, they got some strength to them. This is a dinky little baby axle. You know, it lived perfectly fine behind a 2.8 that makes 15 horsepower rolling downhill with a push start. I don't really know how much that motor makes. I'm giving it away for free. A friend of mine wants it. He wants the engine and he wants the 5-speed. I did find out it is a T5. And I gave it away for free. He's a good friend. He needed a motor and a transmission for his project. I'll donate to the cause. You know, my uncle was kind of upset that I gave it away for free. He thought I should have tried to get a little bit of money out of it, but my buddy told me what his project was, and it sounded pretty interesting, and he wanted the 2.8. He wanted to build it for his buggy, his mud buggy. He's got a little, he said he's building it. It's 4 feet by 8 feet. It's a single seater. It's like an adult go-kart with a V6 and a 5-speed. So I hope he gets it. It's free. He can come get it whenever he wants it. But if he doesn't get it in time, it is going to go in a scrap bin, and I will post a transmission for sale. But if he gets it, it's his to have. And honestly, I'm just curious to see what he does with it. That's what I told him. I said, if you end up keeping it and you build it, I kind of want to see what it does. You know, if not, then that's fine too. If it ends up in a garbage pile, perfectly acceptable. I'm not going to cry over it. It's a 2.8. Not a bad motor. You know, my grandfather had one, and he swears by them. He considers it probably one of the better V6s he's ever had in a truck, next to like the 4.3 or something like that. He had a 2.8 V6 with a 5-speed full-wheel drive, and he said out of all of the little trucks he's ever owned, that was the best pulling truck he'd ever had. So, but I'm off topic. I'm going to see you later. Goodbye.